I'm broadcasting. Hello, everyone. Happy almost holiday weekend.
Yay, it's almost here.
You have to show yourself if you're just going to chime in. Like, you're going to confuse people. So if you are from New York on this call, you would have gotten a separate email from Natalie. She did send it with a Teams invite. Hello, everyone. Hey, Mia. Hi, Deb. Hey, Wendy, can you send this? Actually, I can just do it really quick. Invite to Lisa. All right, yes, I'm ready for a long weekend too. Absolutely. I took my first 4 hours of vacation yesterday. It was thrilling, but now I'm exhausted. So I think we're probably, is that number look about right, Wendy, if we don't have New York on?
Yeah, we're about 67.
Are we still a little light, you think?
A little low, yeah.
All right, I think a lot of people are probably on vacation or New York, you should be on a different call. You should look for an email from Natalie Dogood. She sent a Teams invite. We will miss you. Okay, so I have everyone but New York. We are going to just review. First off, I'll just ask, how did it go? In the comments, did anyone have any issues? We tried to pick a fairly simple tool to review this week because of the holiday. Did anyone have any difficulty or questions with anything just initially getting into eContacts? All right, perfect. So I'm going to try to get through this at a decent pace, but hopefully you guys will be able to follow because again, we tried to make it kind of simple. So going through the homework, first thing I'll mention is that we are going to have eCards for a very long time. You're probably going to have some agents that are asking because we keep upgrading some of our marketing tools. Excuse me. We are going to have separate another way to send out similar things to eCards, but don't let your agents panic if they love eCards. We don't have a plan to get rid of those at any time soon, so we do want you to learn them. So eCards and eContacts are connected, which is your eContacts. I think the first question was, where do your eContacts populate from? So if you have an agent in your office that's been around, for a really long time, done a lot of transactions, their eContacts will pull their past buyers and sellers and their current sellers. So as long as they get their email address to you and you put those in, they will populate. You will not see past buyers or sellers on my eContacts because I do not have any. This is also where their IDX, the rapid response, and howardhanna.com leads will go as well. Question. I will show how to import a group. Yes, no problem. So the first thing, we talked about where they populate from. So question that we get all the time, if someone puts someone in Engage, will they come into eContacts? So it's a bit of a roundabout answer. Your Engage also goes to your Hannah Mail, your Outlook, which would populate in eContacts, but it might take about 24 hours to all of that to refresh. So the first thing to know what to do is just to send an eCard. So everyone saw I went to Go Hannah Marketing and eCards, and you all have access to this. I mean, you could send eCards out. It's a great way to get referral business. If you send it out to your sphere and they're ready to buy or sell, you can refer that out and you get referral business. So you want to make sure that you can use these as well. They're typically put in an order where we're going to start with our campaign. So eCards of the month, this was Find It First before. It's been the right time to right size last November. And now we see buy-side and COVID-19 cards. So the most popular are the ones that marketing has kind of pushed out will be up here first. And then it's going to go down in alphabetical order. So the eCards of the month, and then we have dynamic eCards. Another question was on your homework was what's the difference between the dynamic and the regular? So the regular eCards, you know, that's going to be just a regular, there's no link to any property or data in that sense. The dynamic eCard, these are actually going to pull data from the MLS. And you are able, if an agent wanted to send an eCard for a property that wasn't theirs, they are able to do so. So when would that actually happen? If an agent has an open house for a property that's not theirs, when we have open houses at some point ever again, if they have an open house and it's not their listing and they want to send it out to their sphere to come to the open house or to, you know, get the word out or whatever, they would click through. I'll find one. And they would just have to pick, you know, whatever office. And then whatever agent. And then if they had listings, there would be listings here. They would pull that information. So I did get from Ohio and Michigan folks, I did get a lot of dynamic eCards. So for those of you who sent those, that's awesome. That would be how you would send the dynamic ones.
Kate?
Yes.
There was a question on some PA homework about how they may be able to have a more complete signature, the admins themselves, because they would like to send out eCards for various reasons, but some of their signatures that are appearing on the eCards are not as complete as they would like them to be. Do you know where that information pulls from and how they might be able to get that edited?
Maybe. I'll find out. It's a great question. So if it's not, it might be in web admin that they're pulling that data from there.
That's my guess.
Because it's one of our products. For the admins that are on, what does your signature, I guess, look like? What is it missing? Do they get headshots? So they can add, and actually, I guess now we're going on a tangent already. It's only been a couple minutes. You guys can add headshots up here if you'd like, and also in web admin. If you are still waiting to get access to that, then obviously, you know, hold on. But you can add a photo under your profile in web admin, and that should populate in your eCard. So profile, agent maintenance, and this is in the first module that we did. So if you wanted to do that, you could. And if you want, if you are someone that would really like to start using eCards, you can schedule a call with me really quick, and we can just go through this together on a Zoom call. But back to eCards.
So there's two comments in the questions. Christine Brady did add a headshot, and it did populate to our eCard.
Awesome,
and,
Christine.
And Susan, your signature had your name and office. You can go in.
No phone numbers or anything, or email?
That's just name and office, yeah.
Okay. That's probably a web admin thing. We will get an answer to you guys. That's obviously, you know, one of the main reasons we're doing these classes is because we want to make sure that we are kind of in communication about all of these new things that we could be adding and editing and modifying, etc. All right, so back to eCards, marketing, and then eCards. And let's say I just wanted to send a regular eCard. So I'm going to click on my select. And then there's a few ways to do this. So keep in mind, this is going to populate from your Hannah Mail if you've created a group. So I've made some groups here in my Hannah Mail, obviously. Or if you want, you can just do a couple names at a time. We will review how to actually add the group here to your eContacts. It is kind of tedious. So if I picked a group, you know, or actually I'm not going to pick a group. We'll just put information and there we go. And I'm just gonna, you know, say, hi, Wendy, nice little message here. And if I wanted to schedule this for a date in the future, I would just change this. So I could just make this, you know, August 1st. And I could even put next year, 2021. I could put whatever I want here. So you could schedule out, you know, Halloween or Christmas or the New Year, Thanksgiving, Labor Day. I mean, there's a card for everything. You could just schedule it out this year, next year, and then hit next. And you can click on this thumbnail here on the bottom left to see a preview of it. Your picture and stuff might not populate. So this, I've seen it sometimes, but usually it won't populate. This doesn't mean that it's going to pull up like that. So another question you're probably going to get if an agent needs help sending an eCard is they're going to be like, well, why is the logo not here? Where's my headshot? You know, this looks terrible. Nothing's pulling. Just let them know that that is just for the preview. This is just to show the text on what they're going to write and the image. This is not how it's going to populate. Obviously, if they don't have a headshot in there loaded in their web admin, it's not going to. But they could always practice and send themselves one for that day before they schedule anything out. So when I'm ready to click send, I'm going to click send. I like it. Everything's good. And let's say that I don't want to check in with Wendy. I want to cancel that eCard, or maybe I want to make sure that I did send it. The next, probably most common question you will all get from an agent in your office is, how do I know if I've already sent one, or, you know, I want to cancel that eCard for whatever reason. So again, we can just click back on eCards. And this is a new button. We've actually added this. This used to be a little bit more difficult to find, but right up here, you're gonna see reports or cancel eCard. And if you have an agent that's done or sent out or scheduled a lot of eCards, this is probably gonna be a little overwhelming. It's in date order. So even if I sent one today and then I scheduled one for, you know, next, I don't know, year, just keep in mind it's gonna be in date order here. So I just scheduled this one for 2021. I can click that, I'll hit go. And typically we would populate who's this getting sent to. It's just one person, so I don't need to spam Wendy's email. I'm just gonna hit cancel, and I'm gonna cancel this entire card. So now she will not get that. If I wanna see who's been scheduled for, you know, this card, usually this would be populating. Another reason why we are moving towards some different ways to send out eCards is because I think Wendy used the word, it can be a little wonky. So you'll see some errors there. If you're having a problem with this and an agent, just tell them, you know, this has been a program since, I believe, I don't know, 2012. So there's some things that do obviously need updates and might not work perfectly every time. The cancel will always show up, but you might not see who it's being sent to. Did anyone have that issue before, or did anyone try to schedule one and cancel and not see who it was sent or who it was scheduled to go to? Okay, I see some people raising their hands. Yeah, I'll ask Kevin and Dan about that and ask if that's ever gonna work or be fixed, and I'll try to get you guys an answer. Okay, so we said send an eCard, send a future eCard, view the report, schedule delete, and we know what a dynamic eCard is. Before I go through the uploading a CSV file, I'm gonna just remind everyone about the drop down. So we're gonna click on eContacts. And again, remember, eCards are sent through eContacts. So if someone said I wanted to send an eCard, you know, to all my people on Gmail, they would have to import those individuals to eContacts. Okay, So I just clicked on my eContacts, and up here you see this arrow, this select an action. This drop-down action bar is going to have everything that you're going to need to know about eContacts. So import, create a new one. So let's say they just wanted to add one person, I don't know, their new friend or something. They can just add one at a time very easily and pick a group that they would be selected into. Obviously, you know, fill all this stuff in. That would be pretty tedious if they had more than, I would say, like 10 people to try to do that manually, unless they did one person a day. But keep in mind, if you actually right-click on a contact, so I'll just see if I can have. So if I wanted to add Sam, I could right-click on her name and put Add to Outlook Contacts. If someone again wants to get a contact from their Hannah Mail into eContacts, that is how they would have to do that. They would never duplicate, because this wouldn't say add, it would say edit Outlook contact. So you wouldn't have to worry about that.
Kate?
Yeah.
There is a question from Susan.
Okay.
It's probably a multi-part answer. Is there a limit of email addresses you can add to send the eCard?
Not that I know of. Wait, she's saying, what does she mean? Oh, with adding 5 at a time?
That's why I said it's probably a multi-part answer, because we're not quite sure. But the other thing is to consider, if you are sending many at a time, will that person, that recipient's email system, mark it as spam? Also consider that, right?
So that's a great question. So first off, like the person who's getting it, they could, if you're sending, I know with Outlook, it's if you send over 500 in under a minute. And that's, I just know that from talking with them about, so for people who don't understand what Susan's asking, if I'm sending from my Outlook to my like Gmail, and I'm putting Outlook, if I'm sending, you know, all of my contacts, let's say I had like 501, and I sent all of that in one, like, hey, happy holidays or something, then that my Outlook would say it's not even allowed to send it because that's too many. If I tried to do that from like Google and I sent it to my Outlook, Google would let me send it, but Outlook might put it in as a phishing email because it knows it was sent as part of a bulk email. Does that make sense? So like you really do, so Susan, that's a great question, but we really don't know unless you know enough about each type of email provider if it would be spam or not. It does look like, God, my allergies. I'm sorry, guys. It does look like it's coming from me. So it doesn't say like a random email. It does say katelesur@howardhanna.com. So that might help in some cases, especially with like Gmail. Does that help at all? I hope.
So short answer is we don't think there's a limit, but always know that systems have limits.
That's so much better than what I just tried to explain. Yes. Okay. Sorry, Susan, that was a great question. Okay. So the next question. Oh, so we were going over the drop down. So you should just become familiar with the options in here. If an agent comes to you and they say, oh, well, I need to get rid of this group. I made a group of all of my buyers from 2017 and I want to move them just to my buyers of, you know, all time or whatever, or how to delete a group, create a group, edit a group, or whatever an agent would need. It's typically going to be in that drop down menu. So if I wanted to add a CSV file, this is probably the most complicated part of this. So I'm gonna go to import eContacts from a file. And I would suggest everyone, I don't know if anyone's ever taken a class with me, but I always give like homework assignments just for people to remember what to do. Especially if you're in an office where you have a lot of newer agents, once everyone's back in the office, they might, if they have like a, we call it their sphere of influence, their SOI list in an Excel file from like a previous job, or maybe all their friends organized on some type of Excel, you want to make sure that you help them put those contacts into their eContacts. So down here, I don't know if everyone saw where I went. From Hannah eContacts, I went to import eContacts from a file. You should all just download this Excel template and have it on your desktop, have it in a folder, you know, agent support, help docs, or whatever, supplements. And just so we know how Excel files work. So right now, this CSV stands for comma separated values, meaning that whatever is in each one of these columns, it's going to be able to transfer to another platform. And it does so by saying, okay, last name, comma, first name, comma. And the other document that you're uploading it has to, or that you have to use this format. So if someone doesn't have a nickname or contact to nickname, you can't delete this column. You can't do anything. You just have to actually put in all of this information just like you would. You know, if you don't know an address, but you only know a city, whatever it may be, you have to fill it in just like that. You can't edit, change, you can't put a space here. All right, and I'm gonna hit File. Actually, I'll put one more person just so they see it. And if you have an agent that needs help doing this, we can, I'll just leave it at that. We can walk you through it, but we can't help every single agent. So like you should become familiar with how to do this. Wendy, did you start?
Yeah, we have two questions. Alex says, when uploading contacts, will the system take out duplicates automatically?
Oh, Alex, that's such a great question. No.
My guess would be no, yeah.
So,
and go ahead.
So if an agent, is savvy enough to know how to upload into their Hannah mail, the only thing that will ever check for duplicates is if they go to Outlook and they click on File, Open and Export, and then import a file. So this is if you have an agent that's pretty together with what they're doing, if you're willing to do it. But again, it has to be in that correct format. So I'm going to hit import from another program or file, and then you would want a CSV file and hit next. And then this is going to let you, this is the only time you're going to see an option, a menu option, that will mention duplicates. So either replace them, allow them, and then merge, which is going to be a lot of work for you, or don't duplicate them. So you have to do that through Hannah Mail. This eContacts will not.
Okay, second question. When you download the template, do they have to manually enter the info, or can they copy and paste from another program's CSV file?
That's another great question. Actually, they can definitely copy and paste, but what ends up happening sometimes is that if there's a lot of people to copy and paste, you just really have to make sure that when you do that, you aren't screwing up this top row. So if I had like, I don't know, another list somewhere and someone had like downloaded from something, just make sure that you're really careful that when you cut and paste, that you're doing it in the correct, you know, you're not messing this up or whatever. But if absolutely that's the best way to do this, is to copy and paste. And I would even recommend having both of your Excel files next to one another, and having it like kind of half on the screen so you know where you're copying and pasting. And you keep, the second you edit this, just go to File, Save As, and change that title right away so that you know that you still have this template available when it's time to you know, edit again or add something. So you know that you always have the correct template there. Is that it?
That's it.
Okay. Okay, so everyone just saw I just did File, Save As. It said, do you want to save this as a CSV and not an Excel? I hit yes. And now I already created 2 groups here, but I want to go back and actually create a group to put these contacts in. I can't just put them into eContacts as they need to have some type of landing spot, if you will. So under that action button, I'm going to hit create a new custom group. And I'm going to call it admin training. Look at that. Okay, and so there's no spaces. Just so you guys know, no spaces. It's just, I make capitals to kind of make it easier for me to read. I hit create the group, and then I'm going to go back to my drop down and then import eContacts from a file. I'm selecting the admin training, and then under choose file, I save that one to my desktop. So this I know is the correct format. I'm going to hit open and then upload. And sure enough, there they are. So again, if they're worried about duplicates and they just want to add all of them, you can just go through and click view a group. And if you know that there's, someone that you've, grabbed or edited or whatever, you can just search for that group, select all of them, and then click send that eCard to that group. Any question? Oh, you know what? I'll show you guys one more thing too. Actually, it's probably easier this way. There, I did a an eContacts class kind of for people who are struggling with some of this. And if someone does have some questions, you can direct them to, there's something where it says contacts. Here you go, managing your contacts, iPhone and Android. This will talk about how you can, if they're worried about getting those duplicates, they can look at these videos and it will give them an idea on how they can clean that up if they're worried about their engaged contacts and their Hannah Mail contacts getting duplicated. Any questions for me? Anything that came up during the week that you need some clarification or help or would like to see again?
Nothing so far. I know that a few people in the PA homework, maybe inadvertently, but failed to mention that they needed to make that custom group when going ahead and uploading that CSV file. So just remember, you have to have that group for that CSV file to go to.
Yeah, so when I click to import eContacts from a file and I hit choose, I can do that same thing, and it's just not ever gonna it just keeps going back to this, and they're already in there, so they'd be in here. But until they go into a group, like that first page that I showed you, they won't actually populate again. So everyone is clear. You have to make a group for them to go into. Yes, if you need to send me an eCard as part of your homework, absolutely, you can just forward it. If you send it to yourself, you can forward it to me. That's no problem. So no questions that came up with eContacts? Great. Next week, we're doing Real Scout. It's probably one of our most popular, I would say BuySide and Real Scout right now are probably our most popular tools for the agent. So if you have questions that agents have asked you at any point about Real Scout, please make notes of those and we will try to get to them on Monday or Friday of next week. I think if we are all set on that, again, this is recorded. If you need to see it again, it will go on the YouTube channel momentarily, and reach out to me or Wendy if you have any other questions. I think we'll probably give you to the end of the day, I guess, if you did not finish your homework, if you need to turn that in. Just because it was a shorter week, you are able to do that. Just send us an email if it's coming. Is that fair, Wendy?
That is fair.
Okay, well, I need to go take an allergy pill.
Everyone, have a great holiday weekend. Be safe, have fun. Thanks for your time and attention.
All right, bye everyone. Thank you.